Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Next Level Real Talk Podcast, where we have conversations on the journey of personal transformation and the pursuit of lasting peace and happiness with Sheldon and David. Hey, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Next Level Real Talk Podcast with Sheldon and David. David, how you doing?
Doing great. Good to have everybody back. And yes, I will just say real quick, I'm a little scruffy today. Had a little COVID experience, my first time with COVID, so I haven't shaved. Going to see how much of gray hair I can pull out of this baby, but doing better. So it's good. Doing well.
Is this the
So
first time you got COVID?
I think so.
Oh, I thought,
I thought I had it before, but I think it was just because I had everybody around me had it, and so I had to
yeah.
quarantine.
Yep,
And it
yep.
wasn't that I was
But you
sick or
never really
anything. Just
got it then.
yeah. So this
Oh,
is my
maybe that's
first.
why you're feeling a little. I was thinking, oh, you already had it, and it's the second time. It usually for me,
Yeah.
the second time I didn't even, it was just like it's like nothing. So,
Yeah, the train
um,
hit me hard. It was I didn't even see the train coming. Thunk.
yeah,
And so it's doing good though. It's been kind of
it's forcing you to take a break and relax
yes,
and be
relax and just
still.
kind of yeah. So it's been kind of nice to rest and relax and so yeah. But all's good. So it's been a great week. Got a lot of things going on. So a lot of things excited to talk about. So because Thanksgiving has passed, and so now we got some things we want to talk about, how that all went and how to hopefully help people get through the holidays, whether no
Yeah,
matter what's
right.
going on. So,
And I do think that the
yeah.
topic is universal, right? So,
Oh,
kind of
yes.
what you went through during your holiday, your Thanksgiving,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, the process and the stuff that came up for you, gets highlighted and accented and, intensified in the holidays, right? Because 'Cause we're
Yeah.
obligated to go see family and stuff like that. So those same things, but they can happen, whether it's, "Hey, let's go out for drinks this weekend," or, "Hey, wanna meet up," or whatever, right? There's all kinds of those scenarios where things can get stirred up in relationship, right? Some of the people will say that one of the highest spiritual teachings is or healings is about relationship. How do you relate? How do you relate with your creator? How do you relate
Hmm.
with yourself? How do you relate with others? Right? And all those things can get stirred up. And holidays intensify that
Hmm.
energy of relationship, right? Because
Yeah.
you're almost obligated. So you want to just share your story about what came up
Yeah.
because you were
And I went and before I even start that, I went through a lot this season, realizing some things that I've done in the past. Like, wow, I've never thought about me. It was always about everybody else. And then even through the season, I was like, wow, this is what's going on. Some things I didn't weren't a major problem, but just recognizing some things. So
right.
it was kind of cool. So yeah,
That's
so you're talking about to start well because just Thanksgiving. I got I head over to Ashley and the grandkids uh, Thanksgiving morning. We watch the parade and hang out and have breakfast. So it's kind of cool just to we somewhat watch the parade. It's a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. Talk about watching TV that long. So we see some of the floats. Just kind of fun to be with family, and then usually the dinner stuff is I can have I and don't get me wrong, I can go to a lot of places. I have a lot of friends that have always offered, "Hey, come over and visit. Come over, get dessert. Come over and eat. You have our rooms are open. Our house is always open." So I'm very blessed that I have that. If I ever don't have anything, um, and so last couple of years, obviously mom's gone, so that was always a problem. When mom was here, it's like, where do I go? Who do I go? It's always and I'll tell you, people, let's go way back because we're talking about how to process through all this. When I was married, I had um, the Mackey family. I had my in law family. I had my family, my mom, my aunt, my uncle. I had my father. Okay, and then somewhere in there, my brother, most likely. So some of that might mix together, but some of it doesn't mix together. So here I am trying to that's just 4 people. That's 4 groups.
yep.
Okay, so I'm trying to navigate that and trying to make people say, "Hey, let's do some on Thursday, some on Friday," but then some don't want to do it on Friday. We got to do it on a traditional Thursday.
Right.
Like, is it about having it on that day or just about having family together?
Well, isn't that where
And so,
Friendsgiving came in?
yes, yep.
I'd never heard of that
So,
till recently. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of a cool idea," but that's what happens, right? Because you have so many different places and times you gotta be that you can't do it all in one day.
yeah, and that became a very stressful thing in my life.
Yeah.
But past that, okay, and that's even at Christmas too, by the way. But forward up to the now, um, always like to go hang out at my aunt and uncle and cousin's house. Uh, love to do that. I've got my dad, stepmom, and then my brother and his wife, Kathy. They have something going on. and then Ashley in the morning. And I've given that up. I know Ashley, they do their thing, and I let her go to her moms and grandparents. That's good for me. I'm okay with that. Um, the so in the past couple years, I've taken dad over to my brother's sister-in-law. Yeah, follow that family tree. So Kathy, my sister-in-law's her sister lives about a mile from my dad, and so about what 5 miles from me. And so I've taken my dad over there and stepmom because it's something to do. One time I went to my dad's house. It was me, my dad, my stepmom, and my stepbrother. That was
Mhm.
it. So that was out in Cave Creek. Drive all the way out there. Okay, come all the way back to Sebille. So there in itself is a 4 or 5 hour day just going to dad's.
Right.
But that's with everything else going on. I got to get back here and do stuff. And so since dad's moved over here, dad and Shirley moved over this side of town. It's been easier. So Christmas and um, Thanksgiving, we go over to Alicia's, and uh, cool. It's so much fun. A lot of people, a lot of excitement. So and they're very, I mean, friendly and outgoing. So I love the people. It's not like I don't want to go there. So it's always fun. Um, and they treat me as family, big time family. And
Mhm.
the so last year we went, and this year obviously Dad's passed away. Okay, passed away August 31st, and so this year I was just kind of like I didn't know what I wanted to do. We were gonna go. Sure, I was gonna pick up Shirley, drive her over um, to my brother sister-in-law's and Alicia's, and hang out there for a while after I did Ashley's, and then from there, don't know what I was gonna do.
But
Um,
also, Dave, before we
mhm,
to ju sorry
yeah,
to interrupt, but
no,
the fact that you didn't have your mom or your dad, have we
yeah,
talked about that on the
yeah,
podcast?
yeah. So no, but I'm gonna bring that up in a second.
Okay.
So yes, so I think if I don't, I'm sure I will. It's in
Yes.
this little part. So I'm sitting there and I go, and Shirley kept asking me for what I was going to do. I said, yeah, I'll pick you up. And I'm kind of like, I really just don't want to go, and it was weird because as I just said, I go, I like going over there, but it's a lot of people, and I love
Yep.
people, but it was like I love people, but stay away from me right now. For
Yeah.
weird. It was like, that's not me. And I
Yep.
was going like, something's weird going on. I wasn't into it, and I didn't have anything else to do. I did have a friend, Steve Wardell. Thank you, Steve. And Terry said, "Hey, come on over to our house if you don't have anything. We got stuff going on." Corey and Damon said, "Come on over for dessert later." Okay, great, going on. So I had things going, but I was like, the main thing, I was like, I just don't know if I want to go over there right now.
Yeah.
Something was weird, and so I called Shirley on Thanksgiving morning, and I go, Shirley, I don't know if I'm gonna go over there today. I just don't feel it right now. And I was had a lot of anxiety because I'm telling
Mm.
her I'm not going to take you over there, but I had directions set up for her. I was going to, have her write them down, so because it's less than a mile away, and anxiety because I'm telling her I'm not taking you over there. Here I am stopping this. I'm the one not giving, and so I called her and I said, "Cheryl, I just don't know if I feel like going over right now. I hate to say that," and she's like, and she goes, "You know what? I've been thinking about it. I just want to stay here at the place, and the ladies are going to hang out. Just stay here and relax, and then we're gonna have dinner tonight together and just hang out and play some games." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that worked out so well."
Yeah.
And there's that anxiety of me going, "This is not going to work," but I'm a very giving person,
Yeah.
so I was giving up me for her and them, you know, and I was like, no, I need to worry about me. And then
Yeah.
at the same time, after I did that, my cousin had texted me and said, "Hey, I know we haven't talked about Thanksgiving, but Clyde and Shirley, that's her aunt and uncle, are in town, and so we'd like to have you over for Thanksgiving dinner if you don't have any plans already." I was like, "Oh, that'd be perfect. Just go over there, hang out, and after that, go to Corey and Damon's, and hang out for dessert." And so I was like, "Wow, this is all working out." But I'm sitting there at home going like, "Wow, something's weird." I felt really weird. I'm like,
Mm.
"Why am I feeling weird?" Because everything's kind of in place. Do I feel weird that I didn't take Shirley over there? That I'm not going to see that part of the family? And it dawned on me. It's like, no, I felt weird first because it was first time without dad.
Yeah.
Because that would have been the first time going to something without dad.
Without dad or mom, right?
So yeah, so I'm sitting there going like, well, so I went over to with Shirley to their place, Alicia's. That would have been dad's family. Dad, not dad's family, but that's part of that. And dad's not there, so I'm going like, well, it's empty to me. My
Yeah.
brother's there, my sister-in-law's there, that part of the family's there, but where's dad? So maybe I was feeling that,
Yep.
and then I kept thinking like, wow, that's kind of weird. Then I dug a little deeper. Not I didn't try to dig. I'm just sitting there, just kind of watching TV or whatever I was doing, and I go, "Whoa! Now I get why I'm feeling this way. This is the first time without mom and dad." So yeah,
Yeah.
first time without dad. Like when mom passed away, it's like, well, this is the first time without mom, but I still had dad.
Yeah.
I still had dad to, I mean, to fall back on. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are. You still want mom and dad. You still
Yeah.
need something
Yeah.
of that. Just to, hey, how you doing? That's it. My dad would talk for a minute. We're done.
Yeah.
That's all I need. Phone
But he
call.
was
Phone call.
there.
But he was there.
But he was
And
there.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. So when mom passed away, still missed all that because she wasn't there, but I still had dad to fall back on. So what I
Yeah.
started doing Thanksgivings with dad, more Thanksgiving stuff with dad. And so then that came around and he's not there. So I'm thinking that's just because dad's not there. Oh no,
But
I don't have either of them ever again.
yeah.
Ever.
But one of the
So
cool things about that story, and I know I'm interrupting here, but just I
no,
want
no,
to
no.
kind of highlight is
Yeah.
that throughout that story, you said, I took a moment and I realized I was feeling this, or this came
Hmm.
up, or I felt the anxiety and I didn't feel like it. And that's huge because so many of us are so shut down that we're not even aware of what we're feeling. To make sure,
Hmm.
makes sense, right? That idea of
Yeah.
social obligation, familial obligation. I'm obligated. I have to. And then
Hmm.
you don't even pay attention to how you feel. I'm going.
Yep.
I'm going no matter what because I have to, right? That kind of thing. Uh,
Yeah.
but you were, I think the first step we always say is awareness, right? The first step to healing anything or any kind of process is being aware of what you're actually feeling inside. And so for
Hmm.
you, obviously having been, further down the path here of doing this stuff, you're talking about it so instinctively and naturally that, I just wanted to highlight it that you're sitting there literally saying, I was in tune. I felt it. I don't know when I was sitting there. Maybe I was just watching TV, but I could feel these things coming up. I felt I had these awarenesses pop in your head. You were taking the moment, to be aware. You were taking these little moments naturally to just tune in to what you were feeling. And that language, oh, some of the spiritual people, oh, I tuned into myself and I took a moment, and I
Uh,
paused, I breathed, you don't have to say it like that. You just were like, hey man, shit came up for me and I was feeling
what's
weird.
going on?
And I had
Yeah.
this anxiety inside myself. And, but you also honored that, right? You also said,
Hmm.
okay, I'm not feeling this. I'm not
Yeah.
going to do it.
And usually that anxiety or feeling is because someone's pushing something. Or you
Yeah.
have to go here. You have to go here. There was no one said I had to go anywhere. They were just asking, hey, this is open to you. This is
Yep.
open to you. I would have made myself obligated to take Shirley over there.
Right,
So
and
I
that's
put
what
that on
most of
myself.
us do, we feel like we have to, right? We
Mhm.
feel like,
So
"Oh, I
yeah, so
have
at
to
that
go here," and it's like, "Really?
yeah.
Somebody got a gun to your head?" No.
So at that point, there was no one said, we need you here. You got to be here because your dad's passed. We need you here. No one had said that, but I'm having
Right.
these feelings. That's why I started going like, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah,
No one in my family is making me do anything.
yeah,
So why do I feel this anxiety? It's because dad's gone. I didn't think of it that way.
right,
Oh, this is the first time without dad. Oh, this is the first time without dad and mom, which is huge. And so now
right.
it's like, wow, this is a season where I have to go through realizing that I don't have
First
either of them on holiday.
first holiday season doing that. That's
Yeah,
huge.
the
Yeah,
season, not just Easter, not just New Year's, not
yeah,
just one day or this day. It's the whole season. I don't have them,
right.
and it was mom's great season. She loved it,
Yep,
and got to hang out with dad and Shirley a lot this season. So it's not like I've lost. I mean, it's good because I got my stepsister and my stepsister, my sister in law, and my brother. I mean, they're always in contact, making sure I have stuff to do, and we're a lot closer. So that's that connection
mhm,
and I love it. And I have my aunt and uncle and cousin who will always make sure I have stuff to go in. So it's not like I don't have anybody.
right,
That's not. It's just I don't have mom and dad, but
right.
I have people there to say, "Hey, this is dad. Hey, this is mom. Hey,
Yeah,
this is the
yeah,
world I'm gonna make of mom. This is the world I'm gonna make of dad." So yeah, so it's just kind of an awareness, not awakening, an awareness of wow, where am I right now? Why am I feeling this?
mhm,
And it was cool that I I was very vulnerable and said, "I just don't feel like going, Shirley." And I was scared out of my wits, going like, "Wow, I was going to be the bad guy. My brother was going to call me, my sister-in-law was going to call me, Shirley was going to call me. Everyone's
Really?
just saying I'm
Yeah,
a bad guy. I'm such a jerk."
yeah,
All in my own brain. Not one of them said that. I'm okay. It's fine. We get it.
yeah,
They're like, whatever. I'm like,
It's
it's
wild the
okay to be
stories we
mean?
make up in our heads, right?
Yes. Yep.
I mean, and that's what
It's
it is. It's just a freaking story that,
it's our
your
worst
brain
enemy.
comes up with.
It is our worst enemy.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I hate to say it, but yeah, so and in that, I just realized like, hey, it's not and sometimes I do have to make that commitment, say, "Hey, I need to get Shirley, or I need to do this for this person. I need to do that." It's not all about me, but that's the first time in a long time I just said, "I need to worry about me,"
Yeah.
And then, and I felt bad. So I went to my aunt and uncles, and cousins, sat there and hung out, had a great time. It was great visiting them. And then, uh I knew I was going to go over to Corey and Damon's after. Um, so I was like, okay. I told them when I got here, here's my plan. I'm coming over. I'm not going to have dessert. I'm going to go to a couple friends I haven't seen in a while. I really want to see them. And they invited me, and we're really close, and their kids are very close to me. And okay, because usually we sit down, play Yahtzee, have desserts. I'm like, wow, I'm not doing that, and they're okay. Which I know they're gonna be okay. That's in my own brain, going like, "What? You leaving? They don't care
Right.
about us." And so I went over there, and the only thing I didn't do that I wish I would have done, but I didn't, but timing didn't fit, was go over to Steve and Terry's, the Wardells. Shout
Uh-huh.
out to them because they're always there. Shout out to Corey and Damon. Shout out to my aunt and uncle and cousin. Shout out to my brother. Can I just go on the whole list? um, yeah. So the only thing I really did do was shout out to Aria and Jace for letting me have a good time, and Ashley. So the only thing I didn't do was go over to the Wardells because just time wise, getting in between things, and they were having dinner at 2, and Aunt Sandy and Uncle Ron were having dinner at 3. So I was like, yeah, that's the only thing I didn't do. So I'll do that with them later. And so they were okay with it. But it was cool to be able to have a little bit less. And then, oh yeah, after dinner, with Aunt Sandy and Uncle Ron and Kim, went over to Corey and Damon's, hung out there, had some dessert a little bit, and drank some wine. The kids were there with their friends, so it was cool to talk to them because I've seen them since they were babies. So I've seen them grown up and helped them through life, and they've helped me through life, believe it or not. And so it wound up being a very awesome. Whew, don't cry, don't get teary. Awesome, thankful Thanksgiving because it was just such a blessing. So
Yeah.
and I didn't get to see my brother and my sister in law, but we know where we are. So it's not like I needed to see them. So because we know where we are, and I'm sure I'll see them quite a bit more. So it's not like I never see them. So
Can I ask what was the emotional hit for that just now?
what's that?
What triggered that emotional hit just now?
Just wow, how thankful I was, and how I thought about it being stressful, and it wasn't. It was
Mhm.
just calm.
Beautiful.
And it was and I was blessed by how calm it was and how thankful of the people that I have, of
How much
realizing
of
that.
a tribe of people that love you and
Yes,
care about you, and you could feel that, right?
exactly, exactly.
That
And of course,
that's
I did those shout outs, but understand there's 5 billion people I could shout out because they've all called me, texted me, and so know that there's a bunch out there. But throughout the season, people have said, "Hey, come on over, watch a movie." I'm like, "Oh, I'll go over and watch a movie." What that? Sat down, and was it
it's
it was yeah. Oh, it was one was during football. Oh yeah, go ahead. It was a
so
football game. I worked football, and they said, "Hey, come on over." Well, I can't. I'm working the football game, so I went over afterwards real quick just to say hi, and they sat down and watched the movie for 2 hours. I'm like, wow.
So, when I hear you talking about that, it's like I have, at work and, Jacqueline, and there's a lot of people that I know that are what there's this difference between what we would call an extrovert and an introvert.
Hmm.
Extroverts are people that like to be around people. A lot of times when and I'm not an expert on this stuff. I haven't dug that deep into it, to be honest with you. But my general understanding is like extroverts will get energy at a party, right? They feel uplifted. It's fun. It was a
Hmm.
great time, blah, blah, blah. And they walk away and they got a big smile on their face and it feels great. And introverts can have a good time at that party, but oftentimes they'll feel like, whoa, that was a lot
Hmm.
and I need to regroup and I need some time. And it's kind of funny because we got a ton of people, including my boss just told me she was an introvert. We got a ton of people on our training team. So we're out traveling all over the country, meeting new people every week, every other week,
Hmm.
going into a new town, going into a whole new shop, going into a whole new environment, and having to be almost on because when you're training, you're holding the space for this entire group the whole time, and you have to hold the person's attention and sometimes a group of people and
Hmm.
you're out there all the time and then a lot of the trainers was like, hey, do you want to have dinner together? It's like, no, I need to go back to my room, and they just need to go back to their room and be by themselves. and just veg,
Mhm.
right? And sort of clear the energy out if you want to get, metaphysical about it, like clear out the energy or just sort of be with yourself for a little bit. Um, so I was literally listening to your as you're talking about your Thanksgiving itinerary, knowing that there's a lot of introverts out there that would be almost overwhelmed and have anxieties listening to how many places and people and stuff that you're trying to do. Cause it's like, oh my
Mhm.
God, I couldn't do that in a million years. So we're all different about
Yep.
what is enough or whatever. You're blessed with having a huge network of people that love and care about you, that you love and care about them as well.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that's a little what might have been coming up there for you, right? Um,
Yep.
uh, but also, that whole idea of vulnerability, of having some fear and some anxiety coming up about sharing what you're really feeling, right? Because that
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
vulnerable, right? To say, hey, I don't feel like this, or I don't feel up to it, especially when you're an extrovert, because you think, especially because so many of us feel obligated, right? We were talking about
Yes.
this obligation to go somewhere, to do something, to
And
somebody asks you, you have to say yes, almost kind of thing. It's hard to say no.
I was just
Um,
gonna say real quick,
mhm.
at times I felt obligated, as you said, obligated because I was gonna say people expect me to be there. And so I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh, God." Now instead of me going for joy, it's like, "Oh God, I gotta go." That
right.
takes the joy and
Out of it.
happiness and thankfulness out of it. I'm
Yeah,
like, "Okay, okay, I'm a politician going here. Hi, how you doing? Great. Picture, 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 bye."
right.
Kiss the baby and leave.
Yes,
I'm like, it had become that
yes,
in years,
yes,
which is in my own making,
yes.
because I've allowed that and I've said, okay, yes, I'll do this, and I overbook myself, if I can say
Right,
that.
right.
And it's like, and I say this the right way, people. It's like I like to see people. People like to see me. It's good. I like when people like to see me. It's a
Yeah.
positive thing, and it's endearing. But it's kind of like, oh, great, I screwed myself over.
Yeah,
But I need to limit myself. And I got Thursday, I got Friday, I got Saturday, I got Sunday. Let's just plan this out. Hey guys, I won't be over there on Thursday because do your family thing. I'll come over on Friday and let's have a drink and have dessert or leftovers.
yeah.
Sandwich.
So, that's
Same time.
another one of those huge things about finding peace and finding happiness, we were talking about, oh, gee, how this whole podcast was like ways to find happiness.
Hmm.
How do we navigate and find a greater sense of happiness in this world, which is so chaotic? Um, Learning to say no. Right? We
Yep.
talk about being
Hmm.
boundaried, and that's boundaries, self-love, care, caring for yourself is, having this awareness of what's coming up for you. That's a huge, the first step, right? Being aware, but also having the courage and the vulnerability to say no, because
Yeah.
sometimes I think, which is in that case true to what you were really feeling, right? I'd rather say no now so I can say yes later and really mean it. That kind of thing is
Hmm.
learning to honor where you are is huge. It's huge and it's
Yeah.
hard and it makes you feel vulnerable. Um, you
And I'll
feel
tell you
like
from go ahead.
go ahead.
From my perspective, as Sheldon says, it's not easy. Understand what I did was internal struggle in
Yeah,
itself. So
yeah,
even though I was at peace, I was struggling, going like, "What am I going to do? How am I going to do this?"
yep,
So don't think it's like, "Oh, good, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to be happy." No, I'm going like, "Ah, God, but are they going to be mad at me?" So I'm internally struggling, but
mhm,
in the long run, doing it and struggling with myself and saying, "I need to worry about me and what I want right now today and enjoy this day." Made it better. So yes,
right,
you're gonna struggle with yourself. It's okay.
yeah, the
Okay.
head.
Just yeah. You're gonna struggle that a little bit, but go through that process and talk to yourself in that process and allow that struggle to happen so that you realize that, yeah, I'm really doing this for me.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it because I just don't want to. I'm doing it because of me and not because I'm angry at somebody or whatever. But I needed that for me, and that made it such a wonderful day. So yes, I
yeah,
had that little battle inside. Now I don't want to say battle, but had that discussion inside and said, you know what, I need to do this, and stepped out and was very vulnerable and said, I'm not going to do this today. And everybody supported it. I was like, oh, what's
yeah,
next? Okay, oh. So
but, in some way, you could feel the love and support because it was there even when you said no,
mhm,
right? And that's
Yes.
huge, right? Because sometimes we're afraid that, we're not going to be loved if we're not out there being the jokester, being happy, being smiley, you know what I mean? Being the life of the party or whatever, right? For extroverts, right? So sometimes it's
Mhm.
like, but when you just say no and they're like, okay. And they, we'd love to see you next time or whatever,
Yeah.
or how about tomorrow or
And
something like that.
and as you just said, um, that introvert that doesn't not out there having the smiley, laughy, go, go, go. There's been times I've
Or,
gone to a
or
family
are, but
function.
need more time to
Yes.
recoup too. Yes.
Yes. And when I've gone to functions and I'm just like, I'm not my bubbly, happily, woo, happy self. I can't. There were times I couldn't put on the facade. I just
Hmm.
couldn't do it. I was
Hmm.
struggling, and I someone asked, and I said, "This is what I'm going through. I'm having a hard time, but I'm okay. I need to be here."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay." So the people around
Yeah.
knew that okay, he's struggling. He's not going to be out here talking and be the life of the party, but we're going to have him involved, and we're going to keep him in.
Yeah.
We're going to keep
It's
him
okay.
there.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You're
And
feeling
one of
safe.
those was a the baby reveal for gender reveal paper reveal gender reveal for Aria way back.
Mhm.
God, she's 6 now, just turned 6, and so 6 plus years. When I walked in the room, and I did not want to be there, and I was not myself, and the Sloans and the Wolves recognized that, and they said, "Sit with us, sit here," and I just was not myself the whole time. It wasn't like they didn't try to make me vibrant, make me the happy guy, make me be the party. No, because it was about Ashley, obviously. But to be more talkative, they just sat there and said, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, need anything? Hey, how you doing?"
Just
Just
checked in with you every once
check
in a
in.
while.
That's all it is, and that's all
Yeah.
I needed with that moment. So understand that if you just kind of are up front too, it's like, "Hey, yeah, I want to be here, but I'm having a tough day."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anything I can do for you? And people will open up. Now,
Yeah.
if they sit there and start getting on you because you need to be more happy and this and that, and then it's time to go
Yeah.
because they're making you try to be. They're
Yeah.
not understanding where you are, and it's
Yeah.
okay to not. Now, if you're bringing the entire party down, saying, okay, then that's a problem. But
Yeah.
if you're just there and they can understand you're just trying to be a part of it, it's okay.
You have a
So
beautiful network of friends. So
yeah,
it's kinda
I do.
cool, right? That they could what do they call that in the spiritual way? Holding space. They held space for you. They allowed you to be where you were.
Hmm.
Um, they
Yep.
weren't dragged down like you were saying, right?
Yeah.
They held their energy and say,
Hmm.
We're gonna have this party here, but we'll check in with you. Are you okay?" Right?
Yeah.
But they also allowed you to be where you were,
Yeah.
but they weren't
Hmm.
also gonna get sucked down into your thing either, right? We're gonna sit
Exactly.
here and be depressed with you because you're not feeling so hot or whatever, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's actually a really hard thing to do, right? Is to hold your own energy, your own space, and honor yourself where you are and allow somebody else to be truly where they are, right?
Hmm.
And that's one
Yeah.
of those things that's really, um, you'd be surprised how often that doesn't happen, I guess, was what I would say.
Yes. Yes.
And what you're
And
sharing are some beautiful examples of people doing that for you, you know, just
yeah.
beautifully and naturally, right? Just like, "Hey,
And
it's
I'll
okay,"
and I'll
check in.
tell you, shout out to the Wolves, by the way, the Wolves. That's Josh's kind of like half family.
Uh-huh,
They do Ashley calls it the cousins dinner. It's the family every Sunday. They put out a text. Hey, we're having dinner. We're having tacos. Anybody want to come? And then the list. Yeah, we'll be there. No, we can't. No, we can't. So it's not an obligation. It's just
uh-huh.
like, hey, we're having it over at their house. Big old place. Anybody want to come? And I
That's
remember there was
beautiful.
one time, and I'm part of that, which is I feel so freaking blessed. And I told them, I go, I'm just so honored to be a part of this. And they're like, we're your family, so I'm considered part of that family. And and one time I remember they'd said something. I said, guys, I'm just not feeling too good. I'm just going through some stuff. And they go, family's a good place to be. I told them I'm not doing good. I'm having a bad day. So family's a good
Perfect.
place to be. I'm
Wow.
like, guess
Wow,
where
that
I'm going?
makes me wanna cry.
Yeah, right. So believe me, I'm already there.
Whew.
So I'm like, I guess I'm going because that's where I have to be. So it's like, yeah, life sucks. Get over here.
Yeah,
So, and they've
yeah.
always,
That's
ooh,
beautiful, dude.
they've always hugged. They've always, when ooh,
Yeah,
when
that's beautiful. That's so simple. It's so
yeah,
clean, but
when
it's so
dad
beautiful.
had passed away, they made sure I was over there for dinner, and
Yeah,
so they hugged me, prayed for me, and I was like, wow, that's was unexpected. So it's cool. So it's good
yeah,
to have that. So make sure you let people know you're not okay, and maybe don't show up. But just
And
know
that's the
that,
vulnerability, right? The power of
yeah,
vulnerability, of
yeah.
saying how
So
you're really feeling versus,
going
shoving
there and
down the
being
feelings,
fake,
ignoring them.
yeah, being fake. You go there and be fake. You're like, oh, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. Well, he's doing really well. No, he's not. I come home and I'm like dying. Well, he's doing so wonderful. Well, no, they know that they need to give me a text in a day or two. Hey, just checking in. Hey, how
Yeah,
you doing? I'm
yeah,
like, well, he's doing fine. He's doing
yeah,
good with his daddy. Dad, he's fine.
yeah,
No, they need to know.
yeah,
So yeah, so don't. So it takes a lot to step out and be vulnerable. It's hard because that's being very humble. That's being like, hey, I can't handle this, or I'm sad today, or I'm not happy today, or whatever it might be, or I just don't want to go do this today, and being vulnerable. But then again, it's cool that every time I've done it lately, everybody's been like, okay,
yeah, it's
it's not like,
beautiful.
yeah, it's not where my brain's freaking taking me. So, which is the bad rabbit hole.
So
Yeah.
it feels like, okay, so I almost feel like maybe this would
Woo.
be a fast one. It's beautiful, dude. It's beautiful that I don't remember who it was, but the people that said family's a good place to be, that made me that hit
The
me in the
wolves.
heart too, because it's just
Mhm.
such a simple, way to just express it. Woo, making me wanna that's
And
wild.
so,
It's
so
wild how beautiful
this
that
might
is.
be the end of this quick one, but I wanted right before we end here. I don't know how much time we're in, but man,
Yeah,
you guys
but
will
it
get a
it
power.
feels like
Power
a
is power.
place.
It doesn't mean that.
It feels like the right place.
Yeah, but know that as we go through this holiday season, um, be open. It's this is the hardest part of the year for everybody. I don't care who you are, what you are, where you're from, how much money you have, how much money you don't have, whoever you are. It's a struggle because we're all trying to make everybody happy. We
Yeah,
really are, and we're trying to have a great time without having the issues. But be willing to sit down right now after this, after you listen to this, and go, how can I be more vulnerable and be more open and be more
honest.
me,
Yeah,
honest, and so that I can make this holiday season a better place for
yeah,
me and for everyone around me.
yeah,
And so just think that through. It just because I tell you what, it's helped me already, just by naturally doing it on Thanksgiving.
mhm,
So as you go through this, just talk to others too. Say, hey, here's where I am. I'm having
yep,
a hard time with this, and be willing to be open. We be willing to try and have that conversation and know that yes, mine came out good, but there may be that pushback. But
yeah,
just understand that, breathe, okay, stop, drop, and breathe, and go, it's okay. We're gonna get through this. Because sometimes it's a knee jerk reaction. And within a day or two, oh, we're sorry. We understand you're going through this, and you got to worry about you along with others,
yep.
not just about others. So,
So that does fit into the stop, drop, and breathe. I was gonna say, what's the homework, stop,
mhm,
you know?
yeah.
I'm coming up with the homework, brother.
Yeah. Woo, woo. Substitute teacher, substitute
We're
teacher.
we're we're on a twist. No, but
Yeah,
it was just something
Smithers
like, okay,
Smithers has COVID. Time for a substitute teacher.
so, stopping, taking the moment, and it fits into that stop, drop, and breathe, right? I was
Mhm.
gonna say, hey, take a moment to just sit with yourself for a second. It doesn't have to
And
be 5 hours, doesn't have to be
mhm,
a retreat. It's just take a moment, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, right? To stop and tune in with yourself and to sit there
yep,
and breathe for a moment and think about and feel into what are you feeling in that moment, right? Um, uh, is anxiety coming up? Is regret or doubt or angst or whatever, like, dread, "Oh, I don't really wanna go to that
mhm,
thing." That's what happens sometimes for people, right? Is actually it's dread, and honoring that, taking the moment to honor that, to breathe into that, um, and then if you need to, there's vulnerability we're talking about, right? So you're
mhm,
stopping for a moment, checking in with yourself. You're being vulnerable with yourself, right? Because so many of us are actually not even open with ourselves. We shut that stuff down. But when you open that up and you breathe into it, without judgment, with nothing but love and compassion for yourself, you're vulnerable to yourself and you say, I really don't want to be there. Then it takes another level of vulnerability to share that with somebody else, right? Because
yep,
you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of all these things, right? To say, hey, this is what I'm really feeling right now. I'm just not up, or whatever that is. Um, is and to be able to do that in a way that doesn't make them wrong either, right? Because I think sometimes when we
Yep.
feel that, we get defensive. We're like, "Hey, your party sucks. I'm not going," or whatever, right? You know what I mean? That idea of attacking outward to defend some place that you feel inside, which is just instead of just being vulnerable and speaking what you're really feeling. I don't really feel like I'm up for it, or whatever that is. Um,
Yeah.
that idea that you have to receive in order to give, and as you give, you do receive more. That idea. I was talking with a friend of mine, a
Yeah.
coworker of mine, about the pipe. It's like a pipe to me. So there's a pipe that you're receiving, and there's a pipe in which you're giving, of light, of
Mhm.
energy, right? And the more that you give out, then you open the capacity to receive. But sometimes you have to stop and allow ourselves to receive. Um,
Amen.
and that is that place of nurturing yourself, of being vulnerable and saying, I need some time for myself, or quiet time. Maybe it's just with two friends instead of 100, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Maybe it's just I need a dinner with some people rather than a big party kind of thing. I need some,
Mhm.
maybe it's time with yourself and your creator, right?
Yeah.
And just sitting there
Mhm.
in prayer, in meditation, whatever you want to call it, in contemplation, and just sitting and being, that those things actually that's being authentic and true to who you are. That is the thing that I think our society is missing so much of, is people just being real,
Yeah.
right? And it
Mhm.
allows them, your realness allows them to be real for you. And that's what you saw reflected so much throughout your whole holiday, which is such a beautiful thing, right? Like I said, you have such a
Wow.
beautiful community of
Yeah.
people around, right? That in
Mhm.
your authenticity of, hey, I'm not feeling so great now, your vulnerability and authenticity allow them to be vulnerable and authentic back, and just say, hey, it's okay, right? That
Yeah.
what a beautiful thing. And so it's such a simple thing, but it's such a hard thing too. We always say that, truth is
Mhm.
simple, but it's easy to do. So
Yeah.
understand that if that doesn't feel like something, oh my God, there's no way in the world I could say no to my parents or that party or whatever it is, we understand that. It's not an easy thing.
Mhm.
And people's relationships are hard sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but
And
even if
and
you
it's
can, go ahead.
it's gonna help everything. I mean, it's gonna help your friendships. It's gonna help your family relationships. It's gonna help your marriage. I mean,
100%.
sometimes we have a hard time, and I'm one of those that had a hard time in marriage having those conversations.
Yeah.
And maybe if I had more of those, that would never have happened. Okay, so
100%.
it's hard because you're like, oh, I can't say that. No, say it, because if
Yeah.
someone loves you and someone cares about you, they're going to be willing to talk. And it may not be an agreement right there. If it is,
Yeah.
awesome, it
Yep.
worked. If not, then let's have that conversation. At least you know where
Yep.
you both are,
Yep.
and then you can move from there. So that vulnerability is hard,
Yeah.
but in the long run, I think that's going to really open it up. So
Yes.
yeah, wow, that was powerful.
I feel like that's a wrap though, right?
Yeah, I think that was great, and I was gonna tell you, I wanted to put in one part as you're talking about stop, drop, and breathe. As you do that stop, drop, and breathe, I was gonna put in, make sure you come aware where you are. I'm like, "Oh, he said it. Okay, good." See,
Yes.
he's a good substitute teacher. I'm just gonna tell you.
Did I follow the curriculum? Dave laid out the lesson plan. Did I follow that bad boy?
There we go. And
The
I
funny
just wanna
thing
say
is we
thank
never have a lesson plan with this whole thing,
no.
you know what I mean?
No, we don't.
It just
No.
flows
Hey,
out.
what are you talking about? Let's
Um,
talk about it. And
so
understand that, people. This is that's why we call it next level real talk. It's real talk, just on the next level. We're just talking
yeah,
about real stuff, and I'm glad people are out there listening, and I hope you're. I know it may be hard hearing some of this stuff, but I hope you're putting it to work, and you're thinking, as you don't just go through every day, as a robot, and think about, this is what I do every day, every day, every day. Just think about what you're going through, and most of all, what I've learned is experience it.
yeah,
There were times I just go through the day and boom, come home at night, go to bed, get up, go to bed. It's like, no, what
yeah,
I'm doing? Oh, I'm driving. When I'm driving, it may be stressful. I'm like, why am I stressed out when I'm driving? Oh, look at all these guys. Now I'm seeing why I'm stressed out. I'm seeing why traffic's busy, or I'm seeing why I'm enjoying driving, or I'm seeing the clouds in the sky. I'm seeing, different stuff, rather than stressing out and going through, just not paying attention to what's going on.
yeah,
Yeah, it may be a stressful day at work, and you're like, well, why was that stressful? Well, let's experience it. So instead of just grumping about it, experience it. If it's a great day at work, wow, experience it, because you don't get to see that again.
yeah.
So that day.
That's beautiful. That is
So
huge.
yeah. So I'll leave you on that. So do that throughout this next week. Definitely find some ways just to enjoy and basically smell the roses is what it is. Stop and smell
Yeah,
the roses. And by the
that's
way,
exactly what
I
I was
literally
literally
did
thinking.
that. I was
Huh?
walking onto Xavier campus and I had some stuff, and I go, "There's a big old rose garden." I go, "Oh, it smells good." And I kept walking. I go, "I just smell the roses."
You stopped and smelled the roses. That's
I
awesome. I was literally
literally,
thinking that as you were saying that, it's that old
yeah,
cliche saying, but there's
yeah,
the truth of it, right?
it's
Um,
real.
stopping and taking a moment to appreciate and enjoy whatever the heck's going
Whatever's
on, or
around.
or that sunset that might be happening in the midst of all this stress. It's like, wow, that's gorgeous. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
In the midst of, oh, I got so much I got to do, but wow, that is beautiful out there, and then move
yeah.
on or whatever, right? Um,
Enjoy the moment that's been given to you. So,
yes, yes,
yeah. Awesome. Great talking to
awesome,
y'all.
awesome.
Thanks for listening. Hope you guys are doing well and keep that smile on until our next show.
Yeah, and be sure to share this with other people, please. Like and subscribe and do all that other stuff if you feel inclined. We would love the support.
And
Um,
make any comments if something's worked
yeah,
for you. If you did something, hey, I
liking
did
the
this and I
videos and
really did
commenting
this. And
definitely helps. Anyway, thank you
so,
so much. Love you. Take care.
good holidays.